It is another thing to hug his mother. These are difficulties for me.
Let's get to the same sentence that you said. No home can be a person. It is not a house with four walls. It is a place where a person can feel peace, comfort, security, and belonging. It means peace.
Because of the problems you had, you agreed to leave your home.
Hello, this is the third episode of the Chamedan podcast. In this podcast, in May 2023, we will listen to the stories and experiences of the immigrants' lives. This podcast is available on Instagram, YouTube, and podcast apps. I, Layla from Canada, along with Murdad from America, are the producers of this podcast.
Hello and welcome again today. We have a dear guest. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you. I am Kourosh from Germany.
Why did you emigrate? Our first question is this.
There are many reasons for my migration. In general, if I want to say that I did not have the conditions for progress in Iran, if someone wants to progress economically or socially, of course, this is my point of view. It may be right, it may be wrong, this is my view. It must be a struggle or luck, maybe you are very smart. I was known of them.
Or you have a very rich father.
Anyway, if a person has money, facilities, and conditions from somewhere, of course, this is just my opinion. I say this because the situation was like this. No matter how hard I tried, it seemed that I was neither going forward nor going backward. In any case, I love Iran, and I love Iran very much. It is a very good country, and has very good and loving people. But unfortunately, the situation in Iran is not suitable now.
It means you are ready to leave home because of your problems.
My biggest problem was leaving Iran. I love my country. I had to leave my country. Yes, I had to because of progress. I didn't want to be a burden on my family and make them proud.
What did you lose with this migration?
First, it is very difficult to be separated from the family. I was separated from them for almost 8 years. I can video chat with my family. But being able to hug his mother is something else. This is the biggest difficulty. And it is also no ruse trips. When I went to Pasar Godot, the tomb of Cyrus, sometimes these memories of being away from my homeland bothered me.
Think now that everything is the way you want it. It means that all the factors that caused your migration will be removed, all the restrictions you had will be removed, and you can fly with 2 free wings. What is the first thing you do? And where are you going?
There is a problem. I thought a lot about returning. Do you mean to go back and start from scratch?
Another 0.
I know that the life of an immigrant has many ups and downs. At first, it is very difficult, then with the passage of time, you feel that everything gets better and easier, then you see a series of new problems. I want to know that you have definitely been in places where you have been disappointed. What did you do to keep your spirits up? Did something happen to you?
100% happened when I came from Iran. I thought I had to destroy the bridges behind me in order to go forward and not go back. When I came out of Iran, the bridges behind me had somehow collapsed. In fact, there was nothing I wanted to spoil. When I first came to this camp, there were really many difficulties. I do not know. In English, I mean places where refugees are kept, or sheltering the illegal immigrants who sent me there, as if it were a barracks that used to belong to the Americans and is now being evacuated, and refugees are being housed there. 100% happened when I came from Iran. I thought I had to destroy the bridges behind me to go forward and not go back. When I came out of Iran, the bridges behind me had somehow collapsed. In fact, there was nothing I wanted to spoil. When I first came to this camp, there were really many difficulties. I do not know. In English, I mean places where refugees are kept, or sheltering the illegal immigrants who sent me there, as if it were a barracks that used to belong to the Americans and was evacuated, and most of the 7,000 refugees were housed there. Before here, he was in another camp. I was there for about 4 months. I moved through about 3 or 4 different camps. I didn't have a work permit. There were no classes to learn the language. I started learning the language myself through the internet. After some time, the conditions did not become favorable. That is, it became bearable. I am relatively satisfied with the current situation.
You somehow answered our next question I wanted to ask. Is it worth it?
No, it's not worth it at all. But I am happy with the current situation. I used Mayor Dad's advice before. His guidance helped me a lot in difficult situations. Sometimes they really called me. I sighed. Really, I didn't really understand the feeling of homelessness. And I didn't know anything about foreigners. It was a feeling that sometimes makes me laugh when we hear people talk about going to Europe or Australia or Canada or different countries and talking about residency. I was saying the same thing they are saying. But now I understand what moments they went through because I understood the taste of homelessness. It was a very strange feeling.
If you want to tell the story of your immigration to the next generation, for example, you became a grandfather and you want to tell the story of today's immigration to your grandchildren, what will you say? You can talk about the bitter and sweet things that happened to you.
I really don't know what to tell you. It was good at first, but now I really don't know what to answer or say. It will take time to fully settle in, and my position is not yet clear. But overall I am happy with what I have done and the direction I am going. But if I want to tell this story for future generations, I really don't know what to say.
When a person wants to tell the story of his migration to the next generation, he is in a very difficult situation. I think it's hard to imagine trying to explain something for the next 30 or 40 years. Maybe we could tell a story of the whole trajectory over several years, but the migration itself seems very difficult to explain. I also put myself in the position of this question. I don't know what to say.
In fact, the events that happen at the beginning of migration are not beautiful for immigrants. This era is not to be forgotten, and it is not a good era at all. Maybe you can explain what might happen to a person. I don't mean to tell the future generation to see how hard I struggled and how good you are. I don't mean that. That is, when I came from Iran, a person in his position should appreciate it. When I get very low, I ask myself what I lost and what I gained. This question can help me to always create stability for myself.
Do you regret it?
No.
The only migration that humans do. Their hearts are looking for a home.
I changed the word home to peace. I was not looking for home, but I was looking for peace. I was really looking for peace. Of course, the word home includes many things. Maybe it's true, because we have an interpretation that the Germans also have, that nowhere is a person's home.
We were also looking for the same word that you say, that nowhere is a home for people. No, home is not a place with 4 walls. Home means everything. There is a place where we feel calm, comfortable, safe, and belong, and our mind is calm and comfortable.
Assume a person who has migrated and a person who has never migrated. Now, in your opinion, which of these two people grew more? Considering that you yourself have immigration experience, how do you check now and the past, before and after immigration?
My mother had a famous saying: a person who has seen the world is better than a person who has not seen the world. There is a big difference between a person who has never immigrated and a person who immigrates, because he looks at the world differently when he immigrates due to seeing different people and environments. Because every day he gets to know different things from this trip, and because of that he grows a lot. And his attitude to life will change drastically. That I realized. Time is something that will be strongly understood how valuable it is. I wish I spent the time and energy I spent on the development of Iran in Germany. I had a very, very different life now.
It is exactly the flow of geographical algebra.
I didn't understand geographic algebra.
It means things that we have to endure in life because of our place of birth. In this country where we were born, there are many others who were born at the same time as us. They are the same age as us and in another country. They definitely do not have our experiences because their living conditions were different.
Look at the classes I take. I study IT systems here. In terms of German and even English, their level is much higher than mine, and instead of what we read Arabic.
There are times when you think that if I was in Iran, I would be with my family or friends or in the culture that I knew. I used to show a different reaction, but now that I am abroad, for example, I am alone and I have to show a different reaction, and this will become a part of my personality in the long run.
I admit I pushed myself, and something happened that didn't feel good. Because I was insulted. I don't want to say anything bad about these countries. People here are very kind. And racist people are everywhere. Very good people are everywhere. I didn't want to show a reflex. I didn't want to respond to that behavior and speech. Because of this, I spilled myself many times and hurt myself. And somehow ate myself. Yes, it was subjects.
This is what you like and what you like, just tell us.
When I went to court, I always told my friends to tell the judge their true feelings. Because the judge sitting there wants to know what happened to you. Tell him. How do you feel about their asylum or immigration? Asylum or immigration that is real and has crossed your mind. Tell the judge that when you speak with your heart, he will also understand your words with his heart. They were afraid to worry. Download something from the internet, save it, and take it to court. This caused the judge to reject them many times. I remember there was a female judge in my court, and she was a Muslim. But I told my feelings about Islam, and I was accepted. Many were rejected.
There are many young people in Iran who decide to emigrate due to various pressures. What do you think they should do?
Before I talk to you about this program, I talk to Iran. I have a friend named Javad who has been planning to emigrate from Iran for several years, but has not succeeded yet. One of the reasons is the high price of the currency. I say to all those who want to immigrate, if you have attachments, don't come because you have gone through hardships here, and those attachments will make you come back. So, either completely cut off the dependencies, and that's it. I believe you should destroy a series of bridges, so that they don't come back. Instead of losing the dependencies, I say it's better to replace them. Inner morality, and this inner feeling, do not mean that one should be hard-hearted. He should know exactly what he loses and what he gains during migration.
You came to another country. And different things may happen in this land. Did the events lead you to the point where you say, I was wrong?
No, I was upset. But I didn't accept that I was wrong.
What is your dream and how did you draw the future for yourself? In this new country, you said that your situation is much better now.
When we wanted to take the training course, many of my friends told me that this course is too difficult and cannot be chosen. But I resisted a lot and said no. Now if I want to do something important, this is it. Of course, the main reason is the difficulty of that language. Because this course required a higher language level. Because I didn't want to regret it in the future. The rest of my classmates were born here or are German. Only I, who do not know German, do not have these problems. The problem is that the language level of the class is higher than my language level, and I hope that I can successfully complete these training courses. And why can't I fully enter the work field without studying in these special courses? I have other wishes. One of them is personal.
Is there anything you would like to say about your immigration experience? But you couldn't tell?
What I wanted to say is that in Europe, family is respected first. I mean children, then women, then dogs, cats and pets, and finally boys are treated very badly. When we first came, 16 or 17 people were given beds in one room. At the same time, refugee girls were given a small suite. It was small, but much better than a bed. Of course, it wasn't just that. For example, girls were accepted very easily. We had a woman here. In court, they told him why you came out of Iran. He said the borders are open, and I came, and they accepted. I don't understand this, but if someone came here, he would be rejected in court with all the evidence. Of course, I don't know what kind of thinking is behind this, but this is what we usually come across. In my opinion, they didn't care. They didn't care. Many times, they put the children in groups in the camp. That's why I operated on my hand. I took a piece of bone and put it on my wrist. This incident happened to me when I was in the second camp, that a fierce conflict broke out between the refugees. A little girl was caught in the middle of that fight. I went to get this little girl in the middle of the fight. But in this way I was hit, and my wrist was injured. I went to the doctor several times, but they brought him back to me by giving me some painkillers. My hand needed surgery 6 years ago, but they didn't care. I've had it for about 4 months now, and I'm still doing it.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation and coming and very honestly telling us that whatever was in your heart is very valuable to us, and we wish you success. Thank you. Goodbye.